good, sports fans? Welcome to D9 Sports. We're live out here in Miami, Florida. Might be a little late, but we just heard that Paul George, PG-13, is staying in Oklahoma. 4-year deal at $137 million. Chris Paul staying with the Rockets, signed a 4-year deal as well. I know everybody's waiting to see where LeBron is going. LeBron, can you tell us, are you going to stay the king of the East, or are you going to go and battle against the West and the Warriors? We're still waiting. LeBron, we hate when you do this. Let us know. Everybody else is already locked in. Come on, LeBron. We're patiently waiting for your answer. You just tuned in to D9 Sports, live in Miami, Florida.
Explain the deal to the fans out there why he signed the 1-and-1.
Well, it continues to give him the flexibility to, do another deal next year, or to keep looking in free agency.
Why not max out though, now with the Warriors? Like, what's stopping him from doing that? What do you think?
He has yet to sign a long-term deal with the Warriors, and you've seen this. LeBron James did this in Cleveland with a shorter deal since he's been back, and you're seeing more and more of the superstar player doing shorter deals. And not believing they need that 4 or 5 year supermax long-term security. And so while Kevin Durant's been committed and he's been here, until he signs that long-term deal, you wonder if is there somewhere else in his future? It's hard to imagine him leaving that situation. It's been perfect for him, and they're in position to keep winning championships into the foreseeable future.
Paul George has committed to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He will be back next year. They're discussing now terms of a contract. It'll certainly be a max deal, but whether it's 1, 2, 3 years, that's a conversation they're having now. But Paul George wanted to commit there. He went in with ownership, management tonight. Really had a lot of his questions answered here in recent days. Their willingness to spend, go deep into the luxury tax. Jeremy Grant, a young forward on that team who they're working to re-sign. And they're trying to do that now in Oklahoma City, but really a triumph for that Oklahoma City organization that was really wounded with the departure of Kevin Durant. They took a big risk a year ago tonight, trading Victor Oladipo, Sabonis, 2 good young players, for a player who had made it very clear to them and everybody else he was going to sign with the Lakers a year from now. And a year later, the Lakers don't even get a meeting with a kid who grew up in Southern California, who dreamed of playing for them. They never got to sit down in front of him. Paul George is staying in Oklahoma City.
He has said, literally in public now, what he intends to do, Kenny. He walked on stage just a few minutes ago with Russell Westbrook, and Paul George told the crowd at the party,
If y'all didn't quite get it, let me say it again, I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay.
This is a stunner.
This is the latest Woj bomb. Paul George has agreed to a 4-year, $137 million max contract with the Thunder, including a player option. Do your face.
So it's a 3-year plus 1, but this is, congratulations to the Thunder. Congratulations to Sam Presti. Congratulations to Russell Westbrook. I am stunned he took this deal like this, because if he wasn't going to take again, he walked away
You
from
thought this was going to be a 1-and-1. Yeah. This is not a 1-and-1. This is a 3-and-1.
He walked away from $220 million in Indiana to have the chance to go to L.A. He didn't even give the Lakers a meeting.
He didn't even meet with them.
And the thing about it is if you're going to take a multi-year deal, you'd want to take a 2-year deal, because if he took a 2-year deal, Rach, he could get to 10 years service time and then come back on the market and get a big raise. Taking a 3-year deal, this is basically him giving a giant hug to Oklahoma City. I am stunned. I am as stunned by this contract as I was stunned that the Thunder. In fact, I almost will tell you. I'm going to tell you that this is a bigger accomplishment for the Thunder than trading for him, because he didn't have control over the trade.
Right.
He had control over what his contract was, and to agree with this contract, he obviously agreed to it several days ago.
Right.
But he had a long time to think about this. The Thunder had a good year, but it wasn't like they're on the cusp of a championship.
No, they lost in the first round.
Chris Paul, 4 years, $160 million max deal to stay in Houston.
He loved that city. So I think he really wanted to stay in Houston, and this was the right place for him. And they're a game again. Guys, they are one game away from being in the NBA Finals. Last year, he gets hurt and goes down. So you got to believe in Houston that they feel if he's healthy, that they got a great chance of beating the Golden State Warriors. So I think he wants to be all in, along with James Harden, who's our MVP this year. Clint Capella, who's emerged as a great center as well. So they got some great pieces there, and I think they feel really good about where they're headed.
And he's tweeted that he wants that they've got unfinished business and they want to run it back. And you're right, Byron. I think regardless of what happens here, when the Rockets look at the lay of the land, they don't think that there's going to be that big of a gap for them to overcome. Right. They don't think that the Lakers, even if they get LeBron, are going to be able to overcome that. And they want to keep the team together. That's why I think it's a very strong possibility that they're going to re-sign Clint Capella and try the best that they can to re-sign Trevor Ariza, even though they may be heading towards around $50 million in luxury tax payments to do so.
Well, Denver, they missed a playoff spot by a game in the West, and they've got a star out there, and they're going to pay him like one.
Yeah, Nikola Jokic, 5-year, $148 million max deal. No opt-outs, so that's a straight 5-year deal, and that's a player they're going to build around in Denver. That's their guy now.
Wow, and they made that move with that plan in mind all
They
along.
declined his team option, and then the plan was now that they would get this deal done, and they've got that nailed down tonight, too.
A cowboy emoji.
We're back with the emojis.
So we're back. I do appreciate it coming full circle. He is a Maverick. And look, we were talking about this during the break. To opt out of your deal with the Clippers and take effectively less money for just a 1-year deal. When he opted out of the deal with the Clippers, a lot of people thought, oh, he's probably headed to Dallas. There was enough reporting on that. It must be for a multi-year deal where he feels like he could get it this year. It might not be available for him next year. Why do you think, and I know taxes, but still, why do you think that he would do this? He's basically changing teams to change teams.
He did not want to go back to the Los Angeles Clippers. And I had a long conversation with him sort of towards the end of the year where, it was after the trade deadline and he was just trying to be a good soldier because he was there for the rest of the time. But he really felt burned by the way that he had been treated and how some of the stories had been covered. And I think he really felt like he was going to Cleveland, and then that deal did not happen. And if they weren't going to sign him to a lucrative extension, if he wasn't in their future plans, trade him someplace where he could establish himself, and then that didn't happen at all. And I just didn't see any way he was coming back to the Clippers at all. And if he opted into that deal, it was because he had worked out a trade somewhere else.
Is there sometimes, Byron, that players just need a change?
Yeah, and I think DJ is one of those guys. Like Ramona said, he was there for so many years, and Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, they're gone. Yeah. And he just felt, man, it's just time to get out of L.A. and get to a different situation. And again, I go back to the Mark Cuban when he kind of left him in limbo and probably said, listen, I get a second chance to go to Dallas.
The Lakers have not been really aggressive in the last few days with San Antonio. They have not. This isn't a kind of a negotiation among teams, Boston, Philly, where everyone's upping the ante and trying to. It's been slow building. And, maybe the Lakers want to see how this plays out with LeBron. They've already lost Paul George. But the Spurs have a threshold, and it is very high for a Kawhi Leonard deal. They're not giving him away, and they're going to be willing to walk away from this, this frenzied period of free agency and still try to play the long game of maybe trying to repair the relationship, offering that $219 million Supermax contract. But right now, Boston, Philly, and the Lakers have all shown interest, but no one has made it easy for the Spurs to just say yes and do a deal.
Trevor Ariza agreeing to a 1-year, $15 million deal to join the Suns, leaving the Rockets. Is this a surprise for you, Kevin? Did you expect that he would be jumping ship from Houston?
It's not a surprise he's jumping ship from Houston. It's a surprise that it happened so quickly.
Exactly.
And it's an interesting statement that certain teams are moving very quickly in this market. I thought it would be kind of a wait and see. It is very much a buyer's market. I like it for Phoenix in that it's 1 year. Mm-hmm. They're not tying up their long-term cap space. Their defense was atrocious. Mm-hmm. and they need a fulcrum on the perimeter. both in terms of example and also they have to stop some wing players at a certain point.
Also a veteran. I mean, they've got so many kids on.
But I'm with you, Kevin. Like the fact that he did this on night one. Like I know he was on the Lakers board as one of the guys if they were to get LeBron, and they're still trying to trade for. But this is another guy that they would have loved to have had. But I think Trevor understood where he was and where Houston was in terms of their cap and their ability to re-sign him. But also, I had heard that his name had come up in trade talks even in the middle of the year. That obviously gets back to a player like that. And so I think he probably saw maybe I'm not in their long-term plans, and you take the most money possible because teams like Phoenix that have cap space and are willing to spend it, if you don't take it, they're moving on to the next vet.
And that was one of the things, that Phoenix is one of the few teams that could offer him a salary like that. It's a good first-year number. He can enter free agency in 2019. There'll be more money, more teams looking to add a vet like that. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.